It's a great pleasure to be presenting in front of you here today. My name is Kalen Boston. I'm the Chief Business Officer at MiniCircle. I've got a corporate law and capital markets background, and it's been in that capacity that I've had the great fortune of many years spent in the longevity industry so far. About MiniCircle. So we are a biotechnology company developing non-viral plasmid gene therapy. And our core innovation lies in our end-to-end plasmid platform, diagrammed here, which has enabled us to design, build, test, and rapidly validate novel plasmid constructs. And with this, we've been able to produce a 100+ and growing library of novel plasmid IP. Pictured here, you'll see our pipeline. You know, the most promising of our plasmid library get advanced to the development pipeline. But you know, given the prompt translating longevity medicine to clinical care, I wanted to spend some time talking about how MiniCircle conceptualizes therapeutic platform effects to enhance translational economics. And so I do think that this, I would insist that this economic thread is of major salience, right? You know, the valley of death, as it's referred to, remains a major bottleneck for our industry. Pictured here, you know, the term is used to describe the discrepancies in funding between, say, translational development and basic research. Now, the common explanation, the standard explanation for this phenomenon, right, is, you know, it's at the translational stage. Investors face uncertain degrees of risk, binary risk. This becomes difficult to price, and underinvestment ensues, right? But I want to suggest that this is not an immutable law of biotech finance. And to the contrary, we're finding a number of data points in mature market segments that suggest a more complicated story. One more term. The factor complicating the story is this notion of therapeutic risk commoditization. This refers to the tendency of a therapeutic platform's technical risk to become perfectly priceable as it matures. You know, and it's kind of the mirror image of the valley of death, if you will, right? Where the economic inertia of your platform inverts after a critical validation point is met. And I think that the most, this gets at one of the most interesting data points evidencing this phenomenon, which is the explosion of traditionally risk-averse asset classes into the underwriting of therapeutic risk, right? So here you can see, starting at the latter half of last decade, private equity, and I think more to the point, debt financings, have surged into and swelled into this process of underwriting risk, you know, on the order of tens of billions of dollars in annual allocations. And so my 5-10-year prediction is that this trend is actually going to accelerate and gradually encompass CGT and other novel modalities because of the unique IP regimes behind them. And so, to bring it back to MiniCircle, this notion of accelerating and ultimately utilizing plasmid commoditization has become something of an idée fixe at our company. It drives our strategy significantly. You know, famously, it led us offshore to rapidly validate our initial plasmid design, and so far, it's looking like it's working, right? So over the past 2 quarters, our preclinical proof of concept developed with a CRO, as you'll see here on the right, has recapitulated the data born out of years of medical tourism and offshore trials. And so, given the early success of this strategy and our forward-looking view on plasmid commoditization, I want to offer just a few tactics we've utilized along the way, as it may assist others in their translational efforts. One regulatory, one IP, and then one pipeline strategy. So to start with, we used a regulatory hack essentially to maximize our early stage velocity, right? Famously running an IRB-approved clinical trial at the outset to rapidly generate 2 advantages in overcoming the so-called valley of death, right? It provided us with clinical data for strategic use, as well as revenue that went back into financing further plasmid R&D. Moving from regulatory to IP. Now, our offshore trials, right, get a lot of the publicity, but our science team, during this period, has made a series of quantum leaps in the design and production of plasmid technology, essentially rendering negligible the physical production and lead generation behind this technology, as well as modularizing our intellectual properties, pictured up here with our new assembly model. And the key takeaway from an IP standpoint, is as these platforms and modalities continue to commoditize, the value behind the IP shifts from one of classical exclusivity to a regime more centered on general interoperability. And without getting too much into the details of our proprietaries, what this has meant for us has been crafting a multi-layered architecture of patents and trade secrets that will allow us to protect the core modular constructs while later enabling expansion, platform expansion, and reusable safety and tolerability profiles based on our strategic clinical data. Finally, moving from IP to pipeline strategy. So, pursuant to onshoring, regulatory engagement, right, as well as some exciting new partnerships coming down the pipeline, we've refined our strategy and pipeline management, particularly around not just new additions and prioritizations, but also importantly rejections, right? With 20,000 genes out there, there's a lot we can tackle. We basically ask at this point, three questions about a feasible target. First and foremost, an unmet clinical need. Second is the target itself crowded? And then finally, is the project net present value positive? And this is where again this commoditization theme becomes crucial, right? In the context of IP transactions with some of these new partners, right? We've been able to use the clinical data, strategic clinical data, to design our own probability of success coefficients to gain an edge in these kinds of transactions. And with that, I will conclude the presentation and open it up to some Q&A. Thank you.